Well, joining me now is media entrepreneur and former Director General of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, Omotayo Omotosho. Good to have you join us on the show this morning. Now, first and foremost, the coronavirus, which is known as COVID-19, is biting hard into the economy. Talk about all key sectors. Now, aviation and tourism are not exempted, losing as much as 50% of all of their shares and a whole lot more. How deep would you say is the situation we have on our hands, especially with particular reference to Nigeria?
Well, Dave, it's very, very deep. It's deep because the impact is already being felt. When we talk of the effect of the coronavirus on aviation and tourism, I left my comfort zone to go to the airport, to visit the airport and see what's going on. I did that yesterday, I did that 2 days ago, and also to our recreation centers, the few that we have now. And I realized that it's not just like a ghost town. What I saw yesterday at the airport, the rush of everybody that want to travel outside the country before the travel ban, which started last night. 2 days ago, the huge traffic, everybody wanted to leave Nigeria before the 23rd. So on the 22nd, I was at the international airport in Lagos, and I talked to a few of the passengers, and they tell me they are going back to their base. Some said they came for visiting, and now they're going to be caught up here. And they got to some of their airlines that will fly them, only to be told, sorry, we don't have seat to your destination. And they told me, they said, take me to the nearest destination where I want to go. There were two young ladies that said they were actually going to Chicago. One was going to New York. There was no flight. And so the connecting flight they saw was Los Angeles. They said, just let me go. I must go back to work. I don't want to be caught up here. And so it's a ghost town. It's a ghost enclave. And I'm not just talking of Nigeria alone. We see it on the media. The famous travel city of France, of Spain, of South Africa, of Malaysia. Go there now. It's a ghost town. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's of adverse effect, negative effect to tourism and the aviation industry. You could imagine the airlines not flying any longer. You could imagine the huge quantum of revenue loss to this sector. It is very, very pitiable.
And talking about the ban on movement, which took effect yesterday night now, let's also talk about what is the expectation from the tourism sector, especially in terms of hotel accommodation, because so with the travel ban now, which took effect yesterday night, now we also expect, on the global front, the expectation was that we should see hotel accommodations extended, especially in terms of bookings and a whole lot more. The inconvenience is immeasurable. We've seen what's happened at the global front. What's your expectation now from Nigerian hotels? Talk about Protea and Movenpick and a whole lot more. All of these big names talking about how to manage the COVID-19 spread, as well as helping alleviate the hardship these stuck individuals will have to face for the time being.
Well, it's rather unfortunate. Yes, the hotels are badly hit. Everyone really is badly hit. Let's hit the nail on the head. Everyone is badly hit. For the hotels, I know there have been several cancellations. As a TV journalist, I also took the pain to visit some hotels on my own, just wanting to know what's going on. And I met with their managers, their general managers, some managing directors, and they told me no business at all. That a lot of bookings had been done online, and they had already calculated and done their budget as to how many people they will be getting in. It's no longer so, because lots of phone calls, lots of cancellations, and so it's more like, it's not just a ghost town, it's a huge loss. I must quickly say here that it is not a story of doom entirely. I'm an optimist. As a minister of God and a wife of a pastor, I look at it from the positive side of the globe. And the positive side of it is the fact that this is going to help us develop domestic tourism in Nigeria. A lot of us in the sector have been agitating. We've been talking several times on why we must develop domestic tourism. There cannot be tourism growth if you don't develop domestic tourism within your nation, within your country. We must do that. And the same with the issue of looking at religious tourism, even medical tourism. Talking of medical tourism, a lot of our leaders have been so used to traveling abroad for medical tours and all that. Now they must sit back and get the medical sector of Nigeria to work better than ever before. We have qualified hands, but do we have the equipment? Do we have the wherewithal? With the coronavirus, we started importing and trying to see how we can make good of what we have. We must do much more than that. It's very, very important.
What's also your take on sustainable measures that the tourism sector can also implement, especially in this time of crisis? Now, how we handle this would definitely determine whether or not we'll be able to cash in on the tourism sector. So what measures do you expect from across the value chain this time around to ensure that we still have sanity, sanctity, and we still have a thriving sector amidst the crisis?
Well, I don't want to promise what is not. For us to develop domestic tourism, we must come out of this coronavirus saga. We must. The coronavirus saga must be dealt with, and then domestic tourism will thrive. But we don't have to sit and fold our hands till the time that we declared free of coronavirus. The things we can do is for the state government to start now looking indoors, looking within their states, what they can do to develop the tourist sites and attractions. When we talk of tourism, it's not just the physical tourist location. Events, occasions, they're all tourism attractions, they're all tourism products. I would expect our state governors to start talking with tourism professionals, private tours operators, let's see travel agents, let's see how we can sit together and develop the assets that the Lord had blessed us with, but for a long time we have overlooked. Because Nigerians would normally enjoy traveling to Europe, to America, to Asia for holidays. We are saying no more of that. We are saying let us travel Nigeria. We are saying Obudu Tourist Ranch is still there. We can go there. We're saying that Arugugu Fishing Festival in Kebbi is a beautiful sight to behold. It's an attraction. We can go there. The Calabar Carnival is towards the end of the year. We're not saying wait till the end of the year. We're saying we have the Black Heritage Festival here.
If I could butt in now, during your inspection or your tour of hotels and other facilities within this period now, would you say we've seen quite an intensive step to curtail the spread of the coronavirus in all of the hotels and the facilities you mentioned? Talk about the use of hand sanitizers, talking about the use of spacing of even staff. How are they managing the influx of people as well as the internal structures in the facilities?
Yeah, I must say that they're doing it quite well. I must say they're doing it quite well. The big hotels that I visited, and the smaller ones, we have that of Sheraton, we have that of Ecolo Meridian that I visited, we have that of Intercontinental, we have the Shore Gates in Ikeja. I was quite impressed by what I saw, and it occurred to me that they are more conscious of sanitation and the fact that they have a lot of role to play in combating this virus. It's quite impressive. I must also say, even for religious tourism, the law of the land in Lagos State came out with a directive that churches should shut down. We shouldn't have more than 50 people, and later 20. Yeah, and I visited the churches. It will surprise you. I told my driver, drive me around. We have so much time on our hands now. I'm self-employed, so I said, for me to get the job done, let me see what's going on. That's what we call investigative journalism. Exactly. And I was quite impressed by what I saw. Most of the Catholic churches in Lagos shut down. The big ones, they were closed. The Redeemed churches, they shut down. And I realized that these are mega churches. You could imagine how many people go worship in the Redeemed churches, but they obey the directive of the land, which had been reiterated by our father in the Lord, Daddy Gio. He said, make sure you comply with the law of the land. At the Catholic end, the same thing. I was quite impressed. So I was a bit appalled when I saw it on the TV, not TVC, that the Catholic Church in Kaduna defied, DFY. I said, no. If they defied, they should have balanced reporting. There were all the Catholic churches in Lagos that complied. We don't want to start another chaos by giving the impression that some churches are not obeying the law of the
We
land.
must definitely deal with verified information and stay safe. Thank you very much for
Exactly.
your contribution on the show. Well, joining me now is media entrepreneur and former Director General of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, Omotayo Omotosho. Good to have you join us on the breakfast show this morning.
Thank you.
Now, our focus is on the restaurants now, talking about the impact of COVID-19 and how we're supposed to reshape, realign our initiatives to make sure that we manage this outbreak properly. Now, we look at Nando's, KFC, and a whole lot of food retailers abroad shutting down, and others have also brought up this new initiative of just doing takeaways. In Nigeria, we still see our KFC outlets are still open, Chicken Republic, Sweet Sensation, and a whole lot more. What is your expectation in terms of our approach and our response to COVID-19 and managing the response so far?
Well, thank you, Dave. It is true that we've not been able to take a cue from what is happening in the developed nations in relation to our restaurant. But I will tell you that they are not sleeping. Just a few days ago, I communicated with the president of the Nigerian Restaurant Association, my dear sister, Kehinde Kamsin. That's the owner of Sweet Sensation. Ever before the number of COVID-19 what do you call it, attack or virus, ever before it escalated from 1 to what it is now. Last week it wasn't 19, it wasn't 20, it wasn't 25, it wasn't 30. But when I discussed with her, she told me, oh, but you know, my sister, these are the things we're putting heads together on. I'm calling a lot of our members to see what we can do. Before they even heard that the developed nations have now started doing takeaways. That was specifically about 10 days ago. So now I'm sure if I call her, she is ready, together with her members, to listen and hear to the directives of government, because they're not sleeping. She told me that she knows and she's been thinking, should she still continue with serving people coming as retail buyers to the outlets to buy, or should they do something else outside the box? And a few days later, we got to know that in the developed nations, it's all takeaways. You call, you book online, you communicate via your phone, and they deliver at your doorstep. Why can't we do that? I think we should take a cue.
Sensitization is key at this point in time, and at a time where not so many have a clear understanding of what the COVID-19 pandemic is all about, how the virus also moves, and a whole lot more. Sensitization is really key. What's your expectation from the National Orientation Agency as well? Talk about Mama Puts. Apart from the food retail outlets, the big names that we know, we still have those who sell food along the streets, who still have very large throngs of people going there. How are they supposed to operate now as well?
Thank you very much. Talking of the National Orientation Agency and our expectations, I'll say our expectations, not myself alone, because I've been talking with a lot of colleagues in the industry. By now, I expected the National Orientation Agency to have come out with a lot of jingles, promos, flyers, sensitization organs to ensure that every nook and cranny of Nigeria is being blown off the information, fed with information they require. Not just the restaurant alone. Not just the restaurant. A lot of our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our daddies, grandpas in the villages don't even know what's going on. And not going to that extent, let's even look at Egbeda, let's look at Ekpe, let's look at some outskirts of Ibadan, let's look at the south-south, the southeast, the northeast. Just talk of the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. How many of them are being sensitized? I must give kudos to the TV stations that have embarked on this. TVC, for instance, and a lot of others that we see. But we shouldn't leave it to the media organizations alone. This is the time I expect the National Orientation Agency to be busy working round the clock. If they don't sensitize Nigerians with flyers, printouts, jingles, promos, all sorts of information disseminating paraphernalia, how would Nigerians be sensitized? I choose to believe they are watching us. I choose to believe that they're listening. We have an information minister who we know is proactive. He should demand this from the agency under his supervision. National Orientation Agency must be doing something. They shouldn't leave it to the organs of media alone to do. They must work pari passu with the organs of media. They should be busy. We've not heard anything from them for God knows when, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now they have a job at hand, and they should wake up to it.
We've moved from 1 to 40 now, and we wouldn't like a replica of what's happening in the United Kingdom, Italy, or even in the USA. Thank you very much for your contribution on the show this morning, Omotayo Omotosha. She is the former Director General of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation.